السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته، مساء الخير جميعًا، أهلًا بكم في برنامج نيوكاسل مع وليد وديف الأسبوعي الذي سوف يطل عليكم إن شاء الله كل أسبوع بمناقشة آخر أخبار نيوكاسل وأخبار الانتقالات اللي صراحة إلى الآن ناشفة، لكن جالسين نحاول آآ من أدق المصادر محاولة الحصول على أدق الأخبار بخصوص سوق الانتقالات. طبعًا اللي يتابعونا لأول مرة لا تنسوا أو حاولوا تشاركوا معنا في وسائل التواصل، خصوصًا جروب الواتساب اللي ما شاء الله تقريبًا وصل إلى 700 مشترك. مجتمع الواتساب أكثر من 30 جروب متخصص في نادي نيوكاسل. طبعًا اللي ما يقدر موجود رقم الواتساب في البايو أو عن طريق هذا الكود. أيضًا اللي يرغب في الحصول على تذاكر جميع المباريات الأوروبية والعالمية وأيضًا المحلية. عندنا طبعًا برضو اليوم وصلتنا مجموعة من التذاكر الخاصة بكأس السوبر الإيطالي اللي راح تقام في الرياض إن شاء الله في 18 يناير. أيضًا تبقي بعض التذاكر بخصوص السوبر الإسباني الذي سوف يقام غدًا بمباراة ريال مدريد وأتلتيكو مدريد والخميس بعد الغد 11 يناير برشلونة مع أوساسونا. أيضا تذاكر مانشستر سيتي ونيوكاسل في سان جيمس بارك وفولهام بالكأس في لندن موجودة أيضا. فقط يرجى يعني التواصل على الخاص أو عن طريق جروب الواتساب. نرحب بديف، نشوف ديف إيش جاب لنا أخبار اليوم. أهلا بك ديف.
How are you, boy, lad? How are you, boy, lasses in Saudi? Hope you're all well.
Well, actually, mate, they are a bit disappointed. We just find out that Newcastle couldn't come this year. They think of coming, but they make a late decision, as Chris Wolf says in The Athletic today, that the team not coming this winter. Any word on this, Dave?
No, I think honestly, I honestly didn't think they would come, even though it would have been nice. It could have been good for good relations and all that sort of stuff. But I think where we are at the moment, we've got so many injuries. Warm weather training might have been good. We've got to get players on the ground here, used to playing in the conditions over here at the moment, and it's quite cold. So it's getting players fit and getting players ready and getting players in the mentality of the next few games. You know, Man City's going to be hard enough, and then we've got Aston Villa. So yeah, I think it's good that in some ways they're staying home this time. But it's a real shame. But no doubt, I would expect they'll be back out to Riyadh or to Jeddah next come the summer. Seems to be all part of the building bridges. But I just think at this time it's possibly just a little bit too early again with so many things going on.
طبعا سألنا ديف بخصوص الخبر اليوم من كريس ووف في صحيفة الأثليتيك بأن نيوكاسل يعني قام بقرار متأخر بالقرار، يعني طبعا القرار كان يعني قرار إيدي هاو بشكل رئيسي بعدم القدوم إلى المملكة في هذا الشتاء. طبعا دائما نيوكاسل يعني يهربون أو يعني في فترة توقف أو إذا شافوا في أسبوعين ما في مباريات يهربون من الجو البارد القارس، الشتاء القارس في نيوكاسل، والذهاب إلى منطقة دافئة كما شفنا الأعوام الماضية، يروحون دبي، يروحون السعودية زي ما راحوا في الرياض ولعبوا مع الهلال، وقبلها راحوا جدة ولعبوا مع الاتحاد. طبعا كثير يقولوا لي على الترجمة ويقول لك حط الترجمة، احنا البث مباشر فكيف نحط ترجمة؟ هذا شيء صعب. لكن الآن شو نسوي؟ أي سؤال أو أي موضوع راح نتكلم فيه راح نترجم الملخص فوري للي قاله ديف. طبعا سألنا ديف على قدوم السعودية. طبعا ديف يقول انه الان المشكله انه حلو انه اكيد نيوكاسل يجي السعوديه، هذا شيء جيد للعلاقات السعودية البريطانية. أيضا كان في كلام أنه حتى لو ما جاء الفريق الرجالي، الفريق الأول نيوكاسل، ممكن يجي الفريق النسائي. هذا الشيء لسه في عليه كلام. طبعا دان آشورث والمدربة بيكي لينجلي، مسؤولة الجماهير سارة متكل جو السعودية الفترة الماضية أو تقريبا من أسبوعين، والتقوا طبعا أو عملوا اجتماع خصوصا دان آشورث بصندوق الاستثمارات العامة، أكيد بخصوص الانتقالات ومستجدات نيوكاسل. وأيضا كان في بعض النشاطات للمدربة مدربة نادي نيوكاسل في حضور بعض التدريبات للفريق النسائي السعودي، ومشاركة في أحد الأحداث الرياضية التي أقيمت. الإشكالية في الحضور حسب ما يقول ديف إنه يعني الآن بعد المباراة، صحيح هي فترة بين 13 يناير مانشستر سيتي، وبعدين راح نلعب مع فولهام في الكأس حسب القرعة 27 يناير، ففي فترة 13 يوم. 13 يوم هذه كافية إن نيوكاسل يجي يعني لو 6-7 أيام. بس هي المشكلة إنه في إصابات كثيرة. إيدي هاو حاول يغير التدريبات شوي، زي ما صرح في الأيام السابقة إنه كنا نفتقر للتدريبات الجدية، أو قال لازم نعمل تدريبات جدية أكثر هذه نيوكاسل تكتيكيا. تم جدولة المباريات، تم جدول التدريبات في البنتون بارك، الملعب تدريبات خاصة بنادي نيوكاسل لفترة يناير. وهذا على ضوء هذه الجدولة عرف كريس وولف، أو يعني أقر اليوم في المقالة أن نيوكاسل إيدي هاو يعني يفضل البقاء والتدرب والحرص على التدريبات بدون انقطاع، خصوصا أنه الآن يأهل العديد من اللاعبين العائدين من الإصابات. بالإضافة إلى أنه بعد مباراة فولهام بيصير في فترة مباراة كل 3 أيام تقريبا مباراة، فبيكون مرهق على الفريق السفر في هذه الفترة. وعلى الأغلب بيكون في سفر في الصيف يمكن إلى أمريكا. هل يضاف لها زيارة للسعودية أو لا؟ يعني تعرفون الجو في السعودية في الصيف حر، فيعني يمكن أمر مستبعد، لكن ما ندري إيش ممكن يصير في الصيف. بس الأخبار تقول إنه في معسكر آخر في أمريكا، طبعا يمكن في ولايات أخرى غير الولايات اللي راحوا لها في الموسم أو الصيف الماضي. هذا بالنسبة لموضوع زيارة نيوكاسل للسعودية. Dave, let's talk about Sunderland. It was really great game. We would like to know about. طبعا احنا نسأل ديف الآن عن سندرلاند والمباراة وآخر أخبار أو تعليقات الجمهور هذا الموضوع. We follow up, Dave, a lot of photos, a lot of videos we saw on social media, on X platform, a lot of videos, a lot of photos. Really, I like. But for me, this is a great picture.
Yeah.
But I enjoy this the most, really.
Yeah.
So, what's the take of the fans for this game in Newcastle Day?
I think before the game we were a little bit apprehensive. We'd been through a bad run of games, we'd lost 7 out of 8, so we're a bit apprehensive about what would happen at the stadium tonight. And I think also we're quite confident. We knew we were a better team than they were, but you could never tell with a derby game. Derby games can be so different to all form and all, expectations go out the window because, derby games, that's the way they're meant to be. So I think before the kickoff, I think we're a bit apprehensive, but once the game had kicked off, Sunderland were never in the game. They were never in the game. I think they had one shot in the whole of the first half. They were very poor. They didn't know how to play. Given that they were just a young team, I get it. They're just a young team, but everybody had been mouthing off, and especially that little Tyrannosaurus Rex, who you took a photograph of before, who were all full of it with how Sunderland were going to beat Newcastle, and he was definitely coming over to watch the game, watch Sunderland beat Newcastle. So it was lovely to see his face when they went 2-0 down. It's such a laugh. He looked absolutely ashen faced. But we were too good for them. We never looked in trouble the whole game. They had, after we'd gone 2-0 up, they'd had about 5-10 minutes where they seemed to get on top a little bit, and they had a couple of shots where that one hit the crossbar, and Dubravka made that save. The 2 saves he made, but other than that, I don't think the Maccamas were ever in the game. They were never in the game. It was a stroll in the park. One of the easiest games I think we played at the Stadium of Light. And the whole time we've played there at all. I don't think they were very good. I don't think Sunderland were very good.
How Sunderland take the beat?
I think a lot of the Sunderland fans, they were all saying they were going to win 2-1 all before the kickoff, but they knew in their own hearts that they couldn't compete against a Champions League team. And at the end, a lot of them were saying, "Well, look at what you expect. We're just a Championship team. We're a cheap Championship team. Our team cost £10 million. Your team cost over £100 million." So they were quite accepting of the defeat, as hard as it must have been for them. But I think they realised that they're just, they are a Championship team, and that's all they're ever going to be. They're not going to be able to compete with Newcastle ever. And I think they accepted that. They come away accepting that fact that they weren't in the game, that they just couldn't compete with us on any level in that game at all. There's only one of their players, I think, who they were talking about would get in the team, but I'm not even sure he would. That O'Neill, is it Dan O'Neill? Yeah, I don't think even he would get in the team. I just think, no. I think a lot of my Sunderland friends, I've got a few Sunderland friends in the scooter club and stuff like that, and they were saying, fair play. They just couldn't compete on the day. They just weren't good enough. And I think they're all coming to terms with the fact that this Michael Beale, their manager, really isn't up to the job. He's not up to the job. So I would expect, if Sunderland don't change their fortunes fairly soon, I think they might turn on the manager. They might turn on that Michael Beale. I don't think they're impressed with him, because he didn't make a substitution. His team's getting beat 2-0, and he didn't make a substitution until the 80th minute. I think it was the 85th minute. And he made a substitution, and they were saying, "Well, why make a substitute now for? You're bringing substitutes on at the wrong part of the game. We're 2-0 down with only 5 minutes to go." So a lot of them were unhappy about.
This Jude Bellingham brother play.
Yeah, Job.
He wasn't starting lineup.
He was a start lineup. Yeah, he's called Job. He goes by the name Job. He doesn't go by the name Bellingham. He goes by Job, same as. So
what about the rumor? What about the rumor that Newcastle interested?
But rumors what?
About Newcastle interested in Job.
Yeah, you would.
Really?
Yeah. He's a talent, but he needs the right sort of manager to bring his talents out. And I think Eddie Howe would do a great job with him. I think Eddie Howe could work miracles with Job. And if he's got the same talents as his brother, then I do think we should go after him.
طبعا اللي حاب يسأل ديف سؤال راح نترجمه يعني ونسأل ديف مباشر إن شاء الله. طبعا سأل ديف عن مباراة ساندرلاند، إيش كان رأي الجماهير سواء نيوكاسليين أو السندرلانديين بخصوص المباراة. طبعا وسألنا عن حضور الحارس ايفرتون. طبعا هذا حارس ايفرتون، حارس منتخب انجلترا، بيكفورد، حضر المباراه. طبعا هو لاعب سندرلاندي سابق قبل ما ينتقل لايفرتون. وكلنا نعرف يعني التنافس والاداء الشديد الحارس مع نيوكاسل، حتى شفنا تقعد لنا في مباراه ايفرتون، وجلينتون قال انه توعدوا في مباراه الاياب. طبعا ديف يقول انه قبل المباراه كانوا خايفين، يعني في خوف من نيوكاسل شوي، بخصوص انه 7 مباريات لم يحقق فيها الفوز من اصل 8 خارج الديار. يعني كان نيوكاسل ما فاز خارج ارضه الا على شيفيلد في المباراه الشهيره اللي 8-0. كنا نعرف انه جماهير نيوكاسل يقول انه نعرف انه فريق افضل، لكنه يعني يظل ديربي، كل شيء ممكن يصير في الديربي. شفنا حركه الصوره صراحه كانت حركه جميله يعني، وضايقت كثير جماهير سندرلاند بتصوير الفريق. بالعكس دائما الفريق يصور في غرفه الملابس، لكن هالمره صور مع الجماهير. يعني هذه الصوره لن ينساها ابدا جماهير سندرلاند ولا جماهير نيوكاسل. لكن يقول يعني كان في تخوف في الديربي. يعني جماهير سندرلاند كان في توقع انه 2-1 كان ممكن تمشي الامور معهم، يستغلون ظروف نيوكاسل، حماس الجماهير، ملعبهم. لكن بدايه المباراه كان واضح الفارق الفني الكبير بين الفريقين. من بدايه المباراه يعني واضح ان نيوكاسل بيفوز، يمكن باستثناء فرصتين صدها دوبرافكا بنجاح. كان المباراه سيطره نيوكاسليه تامه. فريق سندرلاند فريق شاب، يعني قدموا مستوى جيد، لكن ينتقد ديف المدرب سندرلاند انه يقول لك يعني ما قام بتغييرات. معني انا اتوقع انه ما كان في احد يعني يمكن في البنش يعني وفي الدكه يعني ممكن يسوي فارق، لكن يشوف انه المدرب يعني ما يناسب سندرلاند. كان في جوب طبعا، صديق اخو شقيق جود بيلينغهام الاصغر موجود في سندرلاند، وفي اخبار اكدها ديف انه نيوكاسل ممكن يكون يعني مهتم في اللاعب، في التعاقد معه وتطويره طبعا على يد ايدي هاو. هذا كان بخصوص سندرلاند. I believe fans still celebrating this winning against Sunderland.
You always do celebrate for a long time. Like you get it's what's known as the bragging rights. We have the bragging rights. We'll have the bragging rights until we meet again. So it's going to be a long time. So yeah, we retain the bragging rights over our Sunderland friends, and we can wind them up all the time now with 3-0 instead of them shouting 6 wins in a row. So no, it's great that we went there and we won. I think it'll be a long time before we play Sunderland again. I don't think certainly currently they're not good enough to get promotion. Not this season, definitely not. And I think they'll struggle for some years to come. I think they'll be one of these teams who will always stay in the Championship. They'll be one of these teams like Blackburn Rovers or Ipswich or Sheffield Wednesday. They'll always be in the Championship. So I don't like this. The song we were singing on Sunday was the song we were singing was "We'll Meet Again." Don't know where, don't know when, but I'm sure we'll meet again some sunny day. So it's a song we like to sing to the Sunderland supporters because they'll never play us again unless we get drawn in the FA Cup or the Cup again sometime next season, but not anytime soon.
طبعا ديف يقول للحين الاحتفالات يعني على سندرلاند موجوده، انه صراع يعني تاريخي بين الفريقين او بين المدينتين بشكل ادق. لا يتوقع ديف اي لقاء قادم مع سندرلاند، لانه صعب يعني على سندرلاند الصعود. الفرصه الوحيده انه نيوكاسل يلعب مع سندرلاند مره اخرى براي ديف، انه جمعتهم القرعه سواء في كاس الاتحاد او يمكن مثلا في كاس الكرباف او بطوله يعني اخرى. All right, Dave. So, Dave, let's now speaking of Sunderland. Now, let's speak before going to transfer window. Let's talk about the city. City game on Saturday.
Yeah.
We know this is going to be a difficult game. City, this is their chance after winning the World Cup, and I think they get some injuries. Players get back to the field. There is a kind of setback of Manchester City, but usually we get used that Manchester City wake up in the second half of the season.
Yeah.
And maybe after Liverpool maybe get a big injury for Arnold, so I think this will affect Liverpool.
Yeah.
So at Newcastle now we are getting back to the win, but this is very hard game. But the good side, the good thing it's in the St. James Park. So what expectation for this game, Dave?
Well, hopefully Joe Linton will be fit. Don't know. I don't know how. I don't know how Joe's going to be. We want Joe fit. We need him up front. But I think it's a hard game. It's a hard game after all the injuries we've had. It's really a hard game. I expect a tough game. And I don't want to say we'll get beat, but I think it'll be very hard for us to get a result out of this game. Because Man City have got a lot of players coming back. And another thing with Man City, like Newcastle, they don't have any players who've gone off to the AFCON. They've got no players who've gone off to the Asia Cup. So they've got a full squad to choose from as what we do. So I think Man City will try and use this game to close the gap on Liverpool. So I don't think it's going to be what easiest game. But again, we're much more of a resolute team these days, and I think there's a good chance we might get a result. But I honestly think it's going to be difficult. A difficult game because Man City are right back at the top of their game. So that's my opinion anyway.
طبعا سألنا ديف عن مباراة مانشستر سيتي. يقول طبعا مباراة صعبة بيساعدنا في سان جيمس بارك، لكن مشكلة السيتي مع السيتي انه عنده لاعبين اكثر جاهزية. ما عنده اي لاعب يعني راح يغيب في كأس افريقيا ولا آسيا. هذه نقطة قوة يعني عكس الفرق زي مثلا يمكن وست هام، ليفربول. في بعض اللاعبين يكون عندهم لاعبين في افريقيا وآسيا بيخسرونهم في هذه الفترة. هذه نقطة قوة لمانشستر سيتي. في فرصة طبعا للفوز، لكن مشكلة السيتي بيكون حريص على المباراة هذه. الجوانب عدة، المنافسة الآن بين يعني خلينا نقول نيوكاسل ومانشستر سيتي أو السعودية والإمارات، زي ما نقول احنا دربي الخليج في أو كلاسيكو الخليج في دوري الإنجليزي. بيستغل مانشستر سيتي يعني للاقتراب، يعني المباراة هذه للاقتراب من الصدارة. وزي ما قلنا دائما السيتي يكون أقوى في الجزء الثاني من الموسم. مباراة صعبة، لكن إن شاء الله يعني راح نغطيها إن شاء الله يوم السبت القادم أمام مانشستر سيتي في سان جيمس بارك. Let's talk Dave now. راح نتكلم عن سوق الانتقالات، آخر الأخبار. سمعنا كثير من الأشياء. سمعنا عن هيدن إنه رجع عنده ما مشت أموره في النادي البلجيكي. ممكن راح نتكلم عن تجديدات الفريق. Remember Dave, we talked about transfer window last time, and we continue now. We talked about Fabian Schär, that there was an issue, make him late for re-signing or extending his contract. The argument may be about the time of the contract, and as the club announced, it's until 2025 summer. So let's say this is a year and a half. Do you think this is what Schär wanted, or do you think he wanted more? But what do you think happened there?
I think he probably is asking for more. think he has asked for more, but I think they are being realistic. Fab's getting on in years a bit, and I think we've got to look to the future. We've got to look to the future about bringing younger players in, and we don't want players tied down on long-term contracts who are of more mature years, should I say? So I think it was a good idea that would give him that extra year, and I think in the end he's accepted that extra year's contract. He may be getting more money for accepting a shorter period, but it could be a deal to give him a year extension with a view that if he is still performing in a year and a half's time, that they will look to extend it for further. But I think it's a good idea that it's only going to be extended until the summer of 2025. So he's got a year and a half. So
do you think the club wanted 6 months and he wanted the year extra, or he wanted 2 year?
I think he's been after a 2 year. I think he's been after 2 years, and I think the club have negotiated it down to a year, and said, "Look, if there's a chance, we'll sign you on we'll sign another contract in a year's time." But we have to, like I said, we have to be careful that we're not signing players who are, like I say, who are of more mature years on long-term contracts. Look at where we are with players like Matt Ritchie. We signed him on a long-term contract 2 years ago. Why? And he's happy to stay where he is. Same thing with Paul Dummett. Signed him on a 5-year contract a couple of years ago, and he's quite happy to stay where he is. Take the pay, So it's keep the length of contract to a reasonable length, and I think giving Shaw an extension by 1 year with a prospect of a further year, should he still be at the top of his game, would be a good deal.
طبعا بالنسبه لفابين شار، حكينا احنا الحلقه الماضيه مع ديف انه كان في خلاف في مده العقد بعد دخوله يعني 6 الاشهر الحره، او يعني اقترابا من انتهاء العقد. ف فعلا كان الكلام صحيح انه في خلاف على المده. يتوقع انه كان فابين شار يبغى 2.5 في العقد، لكن نيوكاسل خلاها، او يعني ضغط على اللاعب انه 1.5 وبعدها ممكن يسوون تقييم اذا في سنه اضافيه، لانه الفريق الان لازم يجدد. يعني صعب انه كل لاعب، يعني مثلا من اللاعبين خصوصا اللي تجاوزوا مرحله عمريه معينه في البقاء مع الفريق. يعني احنا شفنا شار لاعب كبير لكن لا يستطيع اكمال كل المباريات، وهو للامانه هو المدافع الرئيسي، يعني شفنا هو المدافع الرئيسي مع بوتمان، لكن الفريق الان لازم يجدد في القائمه. اللاعبين اللي عنده صعب انه كل مره راح يجدد مع نفس اللاعبين، خصوصا الان انه في العديد من اللاعبين راح نسال عنهم ديف. When I read Dave the Athletic article today, Chris Wolf still mentioned Jeff Hendrick, Isaac Hayden, still some players they couldn't يعني Newcastle couldn't find a better way to sell the players. Usually they have kind of loan and no team willing to purchase the whole contract from Newcastle. We're still in this dilemma with also, as you said, as you mentioned, you mentioned Matt Ritchie as well.
Yeah.
What's your take on that? Also, I would like to ask about Hayden. Words now that Hayden didn't play enough game with the Belgium club. He went for, and he back to Newcastle. Do you think he will come to Newcastle and join the squad? Maybe this is replacement if Calvin Phillips thing didn't go well. What's your take, Dave?
No, what the thing with Isaac Hayden is he hasn't been playing enough games for Standard Liège And the manager at Standard Liège has now turned around and said that Hayden is no longer in his plans. So Hayden was being sent back to Newcastle, but Newcastle looks like we've negotiated a deal with Sheffield United. So Hayden will go to Sheffield United for a small fee. And what that will do will make way in the squad for us to sign Calvin Phillips. So it looks like this Hayden's move will be a make weight for Calvin Phillips to come along. So any money we receive for Hayden will offset any money that we'll have to pay for Calvin Phillips, which is, I'm saying, there's a small fee going to be. So it looks like Hayden will be going to Sheffield United.
For complete transfer or just loan?
A complete transfer, from what I believe. He doesn't figure in Eddie Howe's plans going forward neither. So it would suggest to me that it's going to be a permanent deal, that he'll go to Sheffield United on a permanent deal for a small fee, and that money we receive will offset Calvin Phillips. So we'll be able to go ahead and sign Calvin Phillips on that a ridiculous loan fee of £7 million.
Any number in the transfer for Hayden? Did they mention numbers?
No. Not mentioned any numbers yet.
طبعا مدرب
all they've said is small fee.
بالنسبة لآيزك هايدن، مش آيزك ألكسندر، آيزك هايدن. طبعا هايدن لاعب كبير من اللاعبين الجنود يعني نيوكاسل يعني السابقين في مرحلة ما قبل صفقة الاستحواذ وبدايتها. لاعب جيد مقاتل، لكنه يعني ما يناسب الفترة يعني الحالية نيوكاسل. وكان في رغبة في يعني مسؤولين نيوكاسل، يعني كان في رغبة باستمراره، لكن كان تعرض لإصابة قوية أبعدته فترة طويلة، وأثناء العلاج يعني أو بعد شفائه يعني حاول نيوكاسل أنه يعيره لبعض الأندية، وآخرها كان ستاندر ليج البلجيكي، واللي طبعا مدربه قال أنه يعني هايدن ليس من خطته ليكمل أو لإكمال الإعارة أو الشراء اللاعب. كان يمكن في خيار إعارة مع خيار الشراء، لكن يعني رفض النادي أو النادي ما حب، النادي البلجيكي ما حب أنه ياخذ اللاعب بشكل كامل، فرجع الآن لنيوكاسل. وديف يقول أنه في محاولات من شيفيلد أنه يعني ينتقل بصفة نهائية لشيفيلد يونايتد، وأنه يتم استغلال المبلغ، يعني مبلغ الانتقال برضه في سوق الانتقالات، خصوصا لدعم صفقة اللاعب كالفين فيليبس اللي كثير الآن كل يتكلم أنه اللاعب يبغى يلعب في الدوري الإنجليزي. نيوكاسل يمكن هو أكثر نادي مهتم بكالفين فيليبس. latest Dave on Calvin Phillips.
Latest is talks ongoing, but other teams like Liverpool, Tottenham, and Arsenal, Chelsea might be interested in him as well. But the argument there is Manchester City will not allow him to join a team who is in direct competition with Manchester City for challenging for the title. So you can rule out Arsenal's, Liverpool's. The only other team would probably be Chelsea. But
Dave, we see Cole Palmer went to the rival.
Who?
Cole Palmer.
Cole Palmer.
Yeah, or maybe Chelsea not to compete. Not compete.
No, I don't think there's anything there. I think with the fact is Newcastle's been after Calvin Phillips even when he was still at Leeds, and I think he sees that as a team who he sees somebody who wants him to play for them. So I think that's why, if anywhere, he will choose Newcastle. He won't choose anywhere else. And like I say, he won't. Man City will not allow him to join Liverpool. He'll not be allowed to join Spurs. Anybody who's competing against Manchester City for the title, then Phillips won't be going to. So.
Do you think did you think Tottenham are competitive for City for the title?
They're certainly in a better position than what we are currently. Let's look at that. So I think both Tottenham and Spurs, like ourselves, are going backwards at the minute. There's only, I think Spurs and Arsenal had some pretty rough results lately, same as what we have. Let's just hope that theirs continues, because Spurs have got 3 players who are away on AFCON and Asia Cup. Arsenal have got 4 players who are away on AFCON, Asia Cup. So let's just hope that teams like Newcastle, we haven't got any players away. We can turn around this form we've got, and we can get ourselves back up the table while we've got full fit squads.
طبعا بالنسبه لكالفين فيليبس يعني ما زال اهتمام في نيوكاسل. يعتبر نادي نيوكاسل هو الاقرب الان، يمكن بس في نقاشات حول ان نيوكاسل يبغى اعاره، وسيتي ممكن موافق على هذا الشيء. يبقى الخلاف على اجباريه الشراء او خيار الشراء، الزاميه الشراء بمبلغ معين. يمكن نيوكاسل اوكي ما عنده مانع يشتري اللاعب بس بمبلغ اقل، ما يبغى يعني يقول اوكي اعاره وتاخذونه مثلا ب 40 مليون او 45 مليون، هذا يصير مكلف على النادي. لكن الشيء اللي يساعد نيوكاسل انه سيتي ما يبغى يبيع اللاعب لنادي منافس الان حاليا على اللقب. اما انا قلت له طيب بالمر راح من السيتي لتشيلسي، بس يمكن تشيلسي ما هو منافس الان، لكن ليفربول، توتنهام، ارسنال يعني حتى مهتمين باللاعب. يعني يمكن ارسنال يحاول يجمع بين فيليبس وريس، شفنا احنا ثنائيتهم مع منتخب انجلترا في اليورو. فيمكن السيتي يعني يفضل ان اللاعب يروح لنيوكاسل، لانه الان حاليا وضع نيوكاسل غير منافس على اللقب. ايضا اللاعب نفسه يعني يبغى يلعب اساسي ويشوف فرصته كبيره في نيوكاسل، عكس لو راح لانديه الاخرى زي توتنهام وارسنال ليفربول. يعني فرصه اللعب اساسي برضه بيواجه، يعني شفنا احنا الان فرصته في اللعب في السيتي ضعيفه جدا. he missed Huddersfield. He's not in the lineup or not in the bench, Calvin Phillips. So he definitely going, you think?
Apparently he's been unwell. Apparently he's been unwell. That's what Guardiola has said, that the reason that's why he's missed out, because he's been unwell. But it also could just be a ruse to try and put people off, to say that there is things going on. But yeah, if he's been unwell, then that's the reason why he's been missing from lineups.
طبعا كيفن فيليبس ما شارك في مباراة هيدرسفيلد مع مانشستر سيتي في الكأس، ويعني كلنا نعرف انه اللاعب اللي بينتقل غالبا في فترة، خصوصا فترة انتقالات شتوية، انه اللاعب اللي يعني خلاص يعني يتم القرار انه راح ينتقل او اقترب انتقاله، عادة ما يشارك اساسي ولا يكون في الاحتياط لتجنب اصابة اللاعب وما الى ذلك. لكن ديف يقول انه جوارديولا صرح وقتها لما سالوه، قال لا انه اللاعب لا يشعر يعني عنده وعكة صحية او لا يشعر يعني وغير جاهز. لكن يعني على الاغلب انه هذا الكلام فقط لعدم تاكيد شائعات الانتقال. كل شيء وارد طبعا. اعتقد هذا بالنسبه للانتقالات. يمكن سؤال اخير بس للانتقالات، اذا عندكم سؤال اسالوه هنا عشان اسال ديف. So Dave, any new name that you think it's close? Because we keep hearing that Newcastle they will not sign any player. We have a list of a player back from injury, so the team is fine. But we know all definitely, Dave, that Newcastle really needed the players. Even in the article I read in Chris Wolf today mentioned that the loan option is more applicable for Newcastle situation right now.
Yeah, you're right, Owleed. I think we'll leave our permanent signings probably until the summer. We've got a few players coming back from injury. We're expecting to see Harvey Barnes and players like that back from injury fairly soon. Joe Willock. So we've still got some good players to come back. So we don't need to rush into buying somebody at this point in time. The only thing I will say is that a striker is a definite. If Wilson is injury prone, if Wilson comes back and we don't sign anybody and then gets another injury, we're going to be down to having Isaac Isak up front by himself again. So I think there's a need for signing a striker. And I think they're talking about this Diamandi, I think, coming in. But I don't know how true that's going to be.
Sorry, Bardo, what's the name?
Diamandi. Diamandi.
Yeah. Where he play?
Hang on. I can't get up. He's I think he's playing for. I think he's in Italy. I'm sure he's in Italy. Bear me a second.
Where he from originally? بنتكلم عن لاعب اسمه دياماندي مرتبط بنيوكاسل، يعني يحكون عنه اللاعب أول مرة أسمع فيه. من إيطاليا، بس ما أتوقع إنه إيطالي. اسماء الله يعيننا على الأسماء اللي نسمعها. كل الحسابات نيوكاسل يحط عين على اللاعب، نيوكاسل يحط ما في ولا شيء من الأخبار.
The problem is he's Ivorian.
Yeah, he's
Ivorian. He's Usama Diamandi.
Usama Diamandi.
He plays for Sporting. He's a centre back for Sporting. So if anything, he could be a player coming in.
Okay,
because
Sporting. That's his name in Italy or Portugal?
Sporting is in Portugal.
Portugal. Yeah. Sporting لشبونة أتوقع أسامة درماندي، يعني هذا ارتبط يعني من اللاعبين.
But he's a centre back, not a centre forward. He has. I don't know if you've heard this rumor or not, but Jordan Henderson from El Ettifaq. Apparently he's unsettled in El Ettifaq and he's expected to leave.
Well, Dave, I tried to read into it. I think it's just a rumor, as anybody else.
No, it's. I think it's the problem he's got. He can't settle. He can't settle in Saudi. Him and his family can't settle in Saudi, and he's wanting to come back. But you can understand why El Ettifaq are not letting him go for nothing. They've spent a lot of money on him, so they want money back. Now, who would be interested in him? Who would be interested in Jordan Henderson? He's 34 this year. He's 34 in 2024.
Yeah, let's say this is true. Even if this is true, I don't think any team able to pay him this much.
No, that's it. He's on £350,000 a week. It's an awful lot of money. He'd have to negotiate a deal way less than what he's getting paid in Saudi if he was to come anywhere. And I can't see any of the Saudi team wanting to pay half his wages while he comes back and plays for Chelsea, Tottenham. But it was rumoured that they were talking about him coming to Newcastle. There's no way. There's no way he'd come to Newcastle.
No way, yeah.
He's red and white. He's more red and white than what Jordan Pickford is. And I don't think there's any way he'd come to Newcastle, even though the press...
but even if this is true, I don't think this is true. As I read into it here from the resources, this is just talking.
Keep an eye on him. I think
you can't just accept 10 million or 30 million deal, come for a couple of months, and you said, "Oh, I can't live here. I want to go another." It's nothing.
It's apparently what he's disappointed with is the team's not doing very well.
Yeah, he should know that. He should know that from the beginning.
Should know that.
Not Hilal, not Al Nasr.
He's not happy about
middle team at Ittifaq, middle team in the league.
Yeah, and he's not happy about
Henderson, he's not Messi. He will not take the team as much as.
But apparently he's unhappy with the crowds.
anyway.
He's not happy with the size of the crowds. He's used to playing in front of full stadiums and all this sort of stuff. So
he should accept that he's got a chance to get this kind of money on his level of playing. So I think this is just a rumor, and his coach is Gerard. So I don't think he will do this to Gerard. So I think this is no truth in that.
He's a Mackham. He's a Mackham. They've got no loyalty.
So are your Mackham's maybe the source of that. طبعا دايما مركز على موضوع هندرسون، انه يعني اشاعات والاخبار تقول انه غير مرتاح في الدمام، يعني يبغى ينتقل. طبعا مو منطقي انه لاعب يجيب مبلغ بالشيء الفلاني بعدين يقول لا خلاص شهرين بعدين رجعوني، يعني مو منطقي هذا الشيء، خصوصا انه مدربه يعني جيرارد، يعني يقول لك انه الفريق يعني ما يشوف انه المدرجات غير ممتلئه، وانه كلام اللي يعني ما ادري، انا ما اعتقد انه صحيح صراحه. هو عارف في البدايه انه الاتفاق يعني فريق متوسط في الدوري، يعني مستوى متوسط في الدوري السعودي، انا اشوف مركزه جيد يعني الان، يعني هو ما راح يجي والله الاتفاق وبيخليه بطل الدوري، يعني معليش، يعني هندرسون في مراحله الاخيره يعني عنده 34، مين راح يدفع فيه هذا المبلغ الكبير اصلا؟ لكن موضوع ما يهمنا، يعني لانه حتى نيوكاسل يعني حتى لو قبل لو نيوكاسل ياخذ اللاعب اصلا هتدفع له مش هيدفع المبلغ الكبير هذا، ما هو قادر على هذا الشيء يعني نيوكاسل في الفتره الراهنه عشان هندرسون. وبالنسبه للانتقالات زي ما قال اسامه مندري مدافع هذا سبورتنج لشبونه، ممكن من كاس حاطينهم عليه، وهذا يعني من الاخبار اللي قاعده تدور في نيوكاسل. يعني في اخبار احنا نجيبها دقيقه، في هذه يمكن نقول اقرب الاخبار، يعني من كل الاسماء اللي قاعدين تدورونها في تويتر، ديف قاعد يجيب لنا ادق او اقرب الاخبار او ادق يعني اكثر الاخبار رواجا في نيوكاسل او اكثر صحه. في ايضا برضو انه يقول لك نيوكاسل يعني راح يتجه اكثر للاعارات اكثر، يعني وبيأجل موضوع الانتقالات النهائيه الى الصيف فتره اكبر، خصوصا الان في مجموعه من اللاعبين راح يرجعون من الاصابات في هذه الفتره. To close the transfer thing, this is come on in the news today that there is extension expected for Botman and Miley. Okay, Miley I can't see, so I don't think this is. Of course, he will extend or promote his contract. But what about Botman? We just bought him. How we can increase this contract and why? Because we signed him for 5 years and he played with us less than 2 years. So what's going on there?
I think it's just a case of tying him down because there's other teams interested in him. So yeah, well, we've got him on a 5-year contract. It might just be a case of upping his wages a bit, making sure that he's on enough money to not want to go away. So I think that's all that is with him. Whereas young Miley is obviously going to be given a longer term contract and a lot more money for his performances because he's come a long way. But Botman, yeah, it's definitely I think it's just a case of tying him down on a better deal. Not so much in years, but certainly in pay packet.
What about Bruno? Because I read too much argument in the Saudi group WhatsApp today talking about PSG and this etc.
Yeah, when PSG have come, they said they would like to sign him in this window. They're going to try and activate his £110 million his breakaway fee. But the thing is, no, Bruno's already said he's not going anywhere. Bruno said he's stopping here, and Newcastle will rebuff any sort of move. So his release clause might be £110 million, but I think it would take an awful lot more money to get him away from Newcastle for us to allow him to go. And I don't think he wants it. He doesn't want to go. He doesn't want to go. So why would Why would he go to a team who we actually stuffed 4-1 at St James's Park and then played them off the park at Parc des Princes? You don't want to go play for Paris Saint-Germain. They're not the team that they were. And they're already talking about selling what's his face? What do you call him?
He already played in France with Paqueta in Lyon, I think.
Yeah, but like I say, when you call him Mbappe, he's leaving. He'll be leaving PSG. He's going to Real Madrid. He's going to Real Madrid next year in summer. So if Bruno goes there, why? They're losing their best players. So why would you want to go and play in Paris for?
Maybe they will pay double salary or something.
Okay. I don't think that. I think he's on good money here, and I think he'd be, if it came down to it, I think he'd get offered more money here to stay here, and I think he likes playing here. I think he likes playing in front of Newcastle. So no, there's no chance Bruno's going anywhere. No chance Bruno's going anywhere.
تكلمنا عن مايلي يعني متوقع انه يتم تطوير عقده، يعني خصوصا هو لاعب من الاكاديميه ولاعب الشباب، يعني ما في يعني شيء غريب في هذا الموضوع، ولا نعتقد انه في نادي يعني مهتم بمايلي انه يدفع فيه مبلغ لانتقاله. لكن بوتمان في تجديد لعقده متوقع، مع انه موقع عقد يعني مع نيوكاسل طويل، لكن في كثير من الانديه مهتمه ببوتمان. بوتمان الان من افضل المدافعين في العالم، ففي طبيعي نيوكاسل انه يكون في تفاوض على عقد جديد. وبالنسبه لبرونو رغم كل الاخبار حقت باريس وفي عنده شرط جزائي كبير تقريبا 110 مليون باوند، حتى لو دفعوا باريس سان جيرمان، يعني يقول ديف انه ليش بيروح، يعني هو اوريدي جاي من فرنسا ولعب، وباريس الان يعني للامانه يعني كانه نادي احس انه قاعدين يعني يتساقط. يعني هذا مبابي بيروح المدريد، فليش يعني يروح ياخذ يعني ينتقل للنادي حتى لو يعني ايش بيدفعوا له راتب اكثر، يعني يقدر يحصل على هذا الراتب في نيوكاسل، هو اصلا سعيد في نيوكاسل. فخبر يعني برونو كالعاده يعني غير صحيح يعني، وباقي مع نيوكاسل. It's not the photo not appear. What you are trying to show us, Dave?
I was trying to show that it is something in the Chronicle tonight, which said that Eddie Howe was being told that Jordan Henderson would jump at the chance to join Newcastle. I don't think so. Don't want him.
No, he will stay in الاتفاق. This is just rumors, because all the players, all the newspaper talking about this. Neymar doesn't want to stay. Benzema doesn't want to stay. They just want something to read, to write, you know, because the Saudi League, this is just media agenda, nothing else.
One more thing before you go. Jamal Lascelles being linked with Besiktas.
Jamal Lascelles what?
Being linked with Besiktas.
Besiktas.
Yeah, because with Botman now being back, and with Newcastle looking at other centre backs like Diamandi, then Lascelles might find himself pushed further down the pecking order. So,
and this is said by whom?
It's in the papers tonight.
Do you think Eddie Howe will let him go, especially now?
Well, if he's falling down the pecking order, then there could be a good chance that he'll go. But it may be another one of these summer departures. They'll keep him until the summer, and then. But let's see if Besiktas come in with decent money, and we can use that money to buy some other players, our lead. Then let's do it, because Jamal Lascelles' legs are not the same. You know, he can't compete. He's 33, 34. He can't compete at the highest game at the minute. So, yeah, I think he could be a one to go. I've said Matt Ritchie's going to be a one to go.
But in the summer.
But probably in the summer.
في اهتمام من بشكتاش التركي لقائد نيوكاسل جمال لاسيلز، لكن يعني قد تؤخر الصفقة للصيف، خصوصا أنه الآن نيوكاسل يحاول قدر الإمكان أنه يحصل على بعض الثبات. صعب أنه يعني يبيع اللاعبين بمبلغ بسيط ويروح يبغى يجيب لاعبين بمبالغ كبرى. هذا بالنسبة للجمال السيلز. There was a silly talk about Longstaff waiting to offer to go, but I think this is not true as well.
Well, I don't think he's playing. I don't think he's playing very well neither at the minute. I don't think he's not the player he was before his injuries. I think he could be a player who could find themselves on the periphery next season. He might not find himself as a first choice. It all depends on who will go out and sign come the summer. I think he can find themselves on the outskirts of the first team. I don't think he's a long-term future. Which is a shame because he was a good player, but he's just seems. He missed three clear-cut chances on Saturday against Sunderland. He missed three clear-cut chances, and one of them was absolutely astonishing from where he was outside the box, and he blazed it over the bar. And I think things with Sean aren't running well at the moment.
طبعا بالنسبه للونج ستاف يعني اخبار، يعني اللاعب اذا لعب 10 دقائق كويسه قالوا انه في عرض انه ينتقل، يعني صناعه اخبار كالعاده صراحه. يعني ما احب اني احكي فيها كثير، بس بما انه مع ديف نغطي نحاول كل الامور. قفلنا موضوع سوق الانتقالات لهذا اليوم. couple of subject here. We will end up with this great show, Dave. We have wonder about Silla fan zone in Newcastle. We hear that it should be in March, but since you are there, Dave, is anything finished yet? Are they doing? There is a close date. What you can tell us about it?
There's an update today is that they don't expect the fan zone open until June 2024.
Okay. Why? They said March.
They've had a few issues with planning permission and a few issues with some of the works. So they've had a few issues. So it's set the timetable back a little bit. So as reported,
June, no competition in June.
No. But that's the whole thing. It's not meant to be.
End of the season. So next season, you think you may
be there for the start of the season. So it's going to be ready. They reckon it's going to be ready in June. They wanted it ready by the end of April, in probably May, but they're now saying it's slipped by a few weeks. The contract slipped by a few weeks. Who knows? It might pick up. It might pick up, but Eddie Hope, him of the blog Tyneside Life, Eddie had an exclusive today which said that he's been informed that it's going to slip back until probably June of 2024. So
to be ready for the next season.
What's that? Ready for the next season? Yes.
So why late? Because we know that the permission already got the permissions from all.
Yeah, I think there's been some change. I think there's been some changes to the plans, and they've had to go back to get these sort of things sorted out. And of course, because of that, it's slipped back a few weeks because it's going to be
change of plan of what?
Change of plans. How it was going to be set out and what was going to be used and how many stories it was going to be. Because originally it was only going to be it was going to be like 2 stories high, but in places it's now going to be 3 stories high. So they've had to go back to get some more planning permissions and stuff sorted out. But they started clearing the land. The land started to be cleared. They've cut back all the bushes and trees that were there that were blocking the area. The guys with theodolites have been coming in to measure up, and so there's work going on. But they're just expecting it to slip back a couple of weeks. But that's not to say that the good British workmen can catch up and make sure it's ready on time. Just at the moment, the plan is that it will slip by a couple of weeks. But hopefully, if we get a good summer, a good spring, I should say, that we can get the works done and completed in time. But if it takes an extra week, extra 2 weeks, so be it. We'll be ready for next season. We'll be ready for the start of the season. And that's it'll be like a big opening on first day of the season. So yeah, I think it'll be good. I think it'll be okay.
Yeah. It's, I think for advertising matter, opening of the season is better option time for this regardless. طبعا الحديث عن فان زون كنا نتكلم انه يعني كان المقرر انه في مارش، لكن اليوم خبر يعني انتشر او من مصدر اللي هو ايدي من قناه انسايد لايف، انه يعني وصلت له معلومه انه الموضوع راح يتاخر شوي لانه في تغييرات في الخطط او في المخطط. ديف يو سيد 3 فلورز رايت؟ 3 ادوار منطقه المشجعين، وفي يعني تغييرات في المخططات في
certain parts of our lead. I think the three floors will be at the back, right near the Gallagher stand. So the 3 floors, and that will include the stage, will be there. So it's not all going to be 3 floors. It's going to be 2 floors and some 3 floors.
2 and 3?
Yeah.
What do you mean by 2 and 3?
Wait, where they're putting the stack, where they're going to put it, the fan zone, there'll be 3 floors at the back, right where the metro station is, right next to behind Gallagher stand. There'll be 3 floors there, and there'll be like, I think 2 floors will be lower down towards the Tyneside Irish Centre.
So 3 and 2. Okay.
Yeah, 3 and 2. Yeah.
Okay. طبعا انه يعني بيكون في 3 ادوار، يعني جهه فيها 3 ادوار وجهه بيكون دورين. يعني كتصميم اختلفوا شوي، يعني صار يعني في بعض التغييرات، فهذا التغييرات اكيد بتؤدي لبعض التاخيرات. طبعا احنا ننتظر الفانزون اللي هنا في السعوديه ان شاء الله. last topic, Dave, the fan advisory board.
Oh, yeah.
So we wish يعني here in podcast Newcastle with وليد, we wish and congrats the lads and lasses who was chosen to be the members, and we noticed a lot of talk, a lot of action in X platform, talking about why you choose this, why you choose this one. I think a lot of people want to be chosen. We are not going to speak about that, but we'd like.
I put my name forward. I didn't get it, So, but I think there's a lot of people. I know there's one NUFC podcast was quite damning of its choice in one person from New York City, because she'd been to. This is always she said she'd beaten the Chelsea game. She said she'd beaten this game. She better beat that game. And she says, how come she can get on the board? Because how can she get away tickets? How come she's got away tickets and we haven't got away tickets? The fact is, what he seems to forget is that a lot of people can get tickets to go and see Newcastle play, but not necessarily from the football club. And she's from New York City, and she's flown over from New York City and paid the ridiculous fees to go and watch Newcastle at Chelsea or at Tottenham or at Arsenal or at wherever, then, that's great, because she got the passion, she's got the money, and she wants to go and watch Newcastle. Now she's had to pay a lot of money to come and watch them games.
Yeah, but Dave, this is the factor. Is it really need to be to prove that, oh, I am a fan, I'm going to every game? This is a factor for choosing?
But she hasn't. What she said is she's only been following Newcastle since May of last year. Now, that's
why? Okay, this is kind of weird. Let's say this is really important to discuss, Dave. Let's say, I read the statement, I read the website. if she say that in the interview or whatever, why they mention, why you think they make this mention about this details? Why?
Because some people want to. Because some people want to see why somebody's been chosen, And if she said, "No, look, we've got a lot of people from Saudi who've only been following Newcastle since the takeover. Should they be excluded from being part of Newcastle? No. We've got new fans coming on from all over the place. Newcastle were out in America in the summer of 2023 for the whole purpose of getting more fans to follow Newcastle. We've been out to Saudi Arabia and the whole purpose of getting more fans to follow Newcastle United. Now, it just so happens that one of those, they've taken on board that one of those fans is a new fan, and maybe she can help promote the fact that we welcome new fans, we want new fans. Yeah,
what do you think? What do you think the club saw in her, for example?
I thought what I saw in her is that she's a new fan. She's a new fan who has never been interested in football before, and she's taken Newcastle to her heart, just like a lot of people in Saudi.
But but this is advisory board taking advice from.
Yeah.
So
she'll be given her advice from her point of view that she's a new fan, and new fans, we've got to look to bring in new fans and how we're going to attract new fans. We've got to look to attract new fans, whether that's in Saudi, whether that's in America, whether that's in Timbuktu. We've got to be able to attract more fans. We need to build our fan base. We've got a good fan base now.
I understand this part, but for fan, this one especially is for overseas fan in the world.
Yeah.
So for me, when I am talking about, and I already speak to the club about it, that I notice most of the focus on the fans in the UK, or the decision. And if you notice, most of the issues, the ticket, etc., about the fans in UK. So what about overseas? Overseas is a lot of countries, a lot of areas, a lot of issues, a lot of demand.
Yeah.
So I believe this need experience.
Yeah, I think
not someone new to present the fans overseas, I believe.
Like, who would you go for then? Who else would you go for? Would you go for وليد from Riyadh? Do you think he would make a very good ambassador, a good fans person?
No, I'm not saying.
That would make sense. That would make sense. We've got وليد who's in Riyadh, who's a good ambassador for our football club. Can he help promote Newcastle United? Yes, he can. And I think it's a mistake that somebody like you hasn't been chosen. And I do think that a choice from New York City is not the answer. But the fact is, she's a new fan, and we have to embrace the fact that we want to attract new fans. Like I said, whether that's from abroad, whether that's from, like I said, from America, from Saudi, from Timbuktu, or from China, or wherever, we've got to embrace that. Now, to me, I think the choice could have been better. I think we could have chosen somebody, like I said, from Riyadh or from Jeddah, possibly from Beijing. We've got a big supporters club in Australia.
From Emirates, there is a lot of fans there from Newcastle living.
Yeah, and I think that...
there is more expert. The thing is, this is not for promoting, I believe. This is for advice.
Yeah.
So the advice is usually, I'm sure I'm not better than the club to decide, but usually if you need advice, Dave, in personal matter, you will go for someone wiser.
Experience, yeah.
Yeah, maybe you hear
Also,
some, but this is advisory board and it's limited. So
Yeah.
I find it a bit weird to have.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people not happy about who the choices of the people are.
What about the other 9, the other 8? Not about.
Like I say, I've got no opinions here, there. I've got really no opinions. I think that we should have had some sort of.
Are they known? Maybe the club want unknown people.
I
didn't look for them, but I think they are not active on social media and stuff.
Yeah, no,
right.
I don't know why they were chosen. I don't know why they were chosen, and I've got no opinions anywhere, because I think if you've got a fans liaison committee, then it has to be somebody voted by the fans. There has to be a lot of names put forward, and there should have been like a lot of names put forward, a lot of photographs, a lot of people's agendas, and I think the fans should have been allowed to vote those people onto that board. And I think you'd find there'd be a lot different makeup if we had a choice. And I think that's where the football club let themselves down. It should have been left to the fans to have a choice. Then people's names like yourself and mine would have been up there, and people could have chosen whether we'd be on the board or not.
So they are not popular, not known.
I don't think all of them are popular. I don't think everybody's unpopular, but I don't think they're all popular. I agree.
Are they gonna stay for 1 year, or this is permanent, or how this is work? Do you have an idea?
I think there's a discussion required here is to decide whether we go ahead with the same sort of makeup next year, if it is just a yearly thing. To me, like I said to you, I think we've got to have a democratic election of people to represent the fans on the board. There should have been a lot of names put forward. And the fans should have been given the option to vote for those people. That would have made it. Then you could say it's a board, it's a liaison committee made up of people who've been elected by the fan base, by Newcastle United fans, not selected by Newcastle United and the Newcastle United supporters group or whatever. No, that it should have been left to the fans to decide. Let's hope, if it is just a 1 year thing, that the next year they decide to do a different setup.
طبعا الحديث عن موضوع يعني أخذ حقه أمس صراحة في منصة إكس، يعني أنا أحب أقول دائما تويتر، موضوع المجلس الاستشاري للجماهير. طبعا تم اختيار 7 يكونون يعني في شروط، حاملين تذاكر موسمية وما إلى ذلك. لكن اللي لفت الأنظار أحد أو الموقع الوحيد الخاص بالجماهير حول العالم هي لسيدة من نيويورك، يعني جديدة في التشجيع كرة القدم، أو يعني مشجعة جديدة لنيوكاسل يونايتد. فكثير يعني شافوا إنه هذا شيء غريب. شفنا في تويتر على موضوع انها تشجع فريق اخر اصلا. تعرفون الجماهير يعني اذا ركزوا على احد يعني يحاولون يدورون اي شيء سلبي، لكن يعني تختلف الاراء. ديف يعني يتفق معي ببعض النقاط واختلف معه ببعض النقاط. راي ديف انه عادي انه يعني يكون شخص جديد، انه ممكن يعني رؤيه انه يكون شخص يعني عنده افكار جديده وما الى ذلك. لكن انا اشوف انه اسمه مجلس استشاري، يعني المفروض يكون فيه الجماهير الاكثر خبره في الاختيار. يرى ديف بشكل رئيسي انه المفروض يكون فيه تصويت من الجماهير افضل من انه النادي يختار. طبعا انا يعني لو بتوقع في الموضوع، يعني بحكم اطلاعي القريب، يعني غالبا يتم الاختيار كرايتيريا معينه، بغض النظر عن الشروط اللي كانت موجوده. دائما يعني يتم اختيار يكونون بعض الاشخاص، يعني اغلبيتهم يكون مثلا بعيد عن وسائل التواصل، بعيد عن الأخذ والعطاء على السوشيال ميديا واليوتيوب وهذه الأمور، يعني لتجنب أي إشكالية قد تحدث أو أي أرجومنت أو أي معلومات، أنه لو كان لا سمح الله مثلا صار في أي مشكلة أو أي انسحاب أو أي كذا، أنه يصير يتم تجنب أنه يعني الشخص أصلا هو مش يعني معروف مثلا، فيكون أسهل تغييره، ما يصير يعني رحيله مشكلة أو يسبب إشكالية. هذا توقع شخصي بناء على أمور كثيرة سابقة أنا يعني شاهدتها يعني وطلعت عليها. نتمنى لهم طبعا التوفيق، لكن بس كنا احنا نبغى نعلق على الموضوع انه يعني كان غريب انه يعني مجلس استشاري الجماهير احنا دائما كنا نعاني او ما زلنا نعاني. يعني احنا الجماهير نيوكاسل مثلا في السعوديه دائما انا اشوف انه النادي نيوكاسل مهتم بالجماهير في بريطانيا وليس خارج بريطانيا. خارج بريطانيا كثير خصوصا عندنا في الخليج كثير من الامور والاشكاليات الموجوده للجماهير مع التذاكر وما الى ذلك، كثير من الامور يعني التسويق عندنا ضعيف للنادي، تكلمنا عنها كثير، ما نبي نحكي عنها زياده، تكلمنا كثير عن في الحلقات الماضيه. يعني الان في السعوديه تكاد او اتحدى يعني احد يجيب لي اي مؤشر انه نيوكاسل مملوك من السعوديه في في اي مكان، في مول، في محل. يعني زين اذا لقيت بعض التيشيرتات اللي غالبا اصلا تكون قديمه او مقلده او ما الى ذلك، او تلقى محل جايب تيشيرتين يعني على يعني جهد خاص فقط يعني لتواجد القميص يعني في المحل، فهذا شيء اتمنى انه يتحسن في الايام الجايه. لكن الغريب انه يكون شخص بعيد عن كره القدم وما تابع نيوكاسل او ما شجع نيوكاسل الا من قريب. وانا هذا السؤال اللي بساله ديف، انه ليش يتم ذكر يعني هي شفافيه ترانسبيرنسي. انا بسال ديف بعد شوي تفاصيل، يعني اوكي انتم اخترتوا مشجع، ليش المشجع تقول انا جديده، انا لسه توي اشجع الفريق، طلعوا عنها معلومات انها تشجع فريق ثاني. انا اشوف هذا الشيء يعني مش يعني غريب صراحه. انا اشوف انه كيف مهمه صعبه كفان لحول العالم انه يختارون شخص مبتدئ وما عنده اي يعني خبره في هذا المجال. فانا هذا الشيء استغرب منه صراحه، لانه كثير من المشاكل هذه ما اعتقد انه بتنحل يعني عن طريق شخص لسه مبتدئ، لكن هذا مجرد راي. وانا اتوقع يعني المجلس الاستشاري الجماهيري يعني قالوا الدوري الانجليزي طبعا هم ليش سووا هذا المجلس الاستشاري؟ هذا طلب او قرار من الدوري الانجليزي انه لازم يكون في مجلس استشاري للجماهير يتم اختيارهم ويتم مناقشه الشعار، يعني بعض الامور المحدده يعني يدخلون او لهم قرار يتم نقاشهم في الشعار، في التصميم، يعني في امور محدده فقط. ف يعني ربط هذه الامور البسيطه بخارج بريطانيا انه هذا الشخص كفان ريبريزنتيف او مقدم للجماهير في حول العالم، احس انه يعني ينقصه الكثير. لكن نصبر ونشوف. Dave, do you think this is transparency that is it intention, and obviously intention to say they can announce, they can mention the names and the photos as we said, but why they saying especially for the new fan from New York this details that she's new, didn't the club expected this clashback from the fans?
But I can't see.
I
can't see why, Owlie. I can't see why. We have new fans in China. We have new fans in Australia. We have new fans in Saudi. We have new fans in America. You know, to me, the mistake was not giving the fans a chance to choose who should be that person from overseas. But she has said she has been to watch Newcastle versus Chelsea. She's been to see Newcastle see other games. Now, nobody there's nowhere in that piece that was written about her that has said she got the tickets from Newcastle United. You know, she got the tickets. She's been to London to watch the matches. She's been to Manchester to watch the matches. She doesn't say that she's got the tickets off Newcastle. Now, our friend Abdurrahman, he came to watch Newcastle last year, and he couldn't get a ticket at St James's Park, so he bought tickets to watch Newcastle at Tottenham, at Brighton. You know, he bought those tickets from their grounds. You know, not from us, but from their grounds. She's probably done exactly the same. She bought tickets from somebody who does stadium tours. You know, there's companies out there who can get you a ticket to a Newcastle game if you want to go and see it, but you've got to pay the extortionate fees. And some people were saying at one of the games in America, was in America, where there was actually fans sitting in the stands eating a picnic lunch who weren't even bothered what the football match was about. You know, and now you don't want, there's some of the fans that we don't want. We don't want people who are just going there for a show. We want people who want to go there who want to watch a football match and not sitting there eating a picnic. You know, it's not the way it's done. So if she's come across and she's managed to buy a ticket, whether that's through some sort of agency or she's bought them from another football club, she's made the effort to come and see Newcastle play, and that shouldn't be put against her. That should not be marked against her. What should have happened was, if they wanted an overseas representative, like every other position, it should have been a vote by the Newcastle United fan base to put that vote in. They should have been chosen by the fans, not by the club, or not by some select committee within the club to pick these people. It should have been a fans vote. Keep it democratic. Put everybody's name up there with what they're about, and you know their agenda and their manifesto.
You're totally right, Dave. But obviously, the club it doesn't want a headache. So
yeah, they didn't want a headache, but they've created a bigger headache, haven't they? By some people thinking that some of these people who've been chosen are not the right people for the job. So they've created that. So you know they've created a problem. So hopefully this will pass by quickly and people will forget about it. Otherwise, it's going to be something which drags our football club through the mud. We don't want that. You know, I think next season, if it's going to be a season by season, then this committee must be voted for by the fans. So the fans have got a choice of who supports them on this fans liaison board, the fans advisory board. It's got to be somebody the fans have put there, not somebody who a committee has chosen to put in. You know, it could be as well that they don't want somebody from Saudi because they think we're being a bit biased towards somebody from Saudi Arabia getting a position on the board. You know, so that could be the reason why they picked somebody from America. But if they picked somebody from America, they could have picked somebody from Australia.
One name or one seat, it will not hurt, even if it gets biased. Still 8 on the seats. Yeah. So
yeah.
Anyway, they are being chosen by Newcastle United, and we have all the trust in Newcastle United, and we wish them all the luck.
Yeah, true.
And we're still demanding a lot from them, especially regarding the fans overseas.
Yeah.
طبعا شيخ ايوب انا والله كل شيء كل اللي تكلمنا فيه قاعدين نترجم، لكن انا ما اقدر اناقش ديف بالعربي. يعني لما نناقش ونتكلم موضوع تكلمنا، لو ترجع الحلقه كل شيء كلمناه بالانجليزي رجعنا نترجمه في العربي. احنا الحين قاعدين نتكلم في موضوع ونترجم ونسال ونترجم، عشان كذا الحين الحلقه تعدت الساعه ونص واحنا بالعاده ساعه. طيب ما اعتقد في كثير يعني نقول على موضوع يعني المشجعين، نتمنى لهم توفيق. تم اختيارهم نادي نيوكاسل. انا علقت يعني وقلت رايي صراحه. كثير من الاشياء نحتاجها، وانا عن شخصي يعني اتوقع واكاد اجزم انه لا اعتقد انه شخص من امريكا لسه جديدة تتابع كورة يعني إنها قادرة على حل لو 1% من المشاكل حقت الجماهير اللي خارج بريطانيا نادي نيوكاسل، وعدم وجود يعني صوت سعودي في نادي نيوكاسل في مجلس الجماهير، يعني أعتقد هذا الشيء يعني غير متوقع. طيب بالتوفيق لهم ونأمل المزيد منهم إن شاء الله. طيب let's finish with this question, Dave, from the fans. Each says we want bigger coach next season.
Why?
يقول لك ليش؟
Why? You know, it's these are, sorry H, but you know, these are supporters who have been blinded by social media. Eddie Howe is a fantastic manager. He's very well respected. The only thing I would say about Eddie, he needs to be a bit more proactive in his substitutions, and that's something he has to learn. But Eddie's a perfect man. He's the perfect manager for us. He's the perfect manager for us. What you've also got to remember, and I think there's a good possibility, and I'm not being funny here, but I think next season after the European Championships, I think Southgate will step down as England manager, and I think Eddie Howe will be big name in there. I think Eddie Howe could be tempted to go manage England.
What about Brighton lad? I forget his name.
Potter.
The one, Potter, yeah.
Yeah, Potter. Yeah, Potter. No, don't think he'll go. But I think it'll somebody who's got current experience, and I think it could be that's the one thing that Eddie might be tempted to go and do. Eddie might be go off to be England manager. If not him, it'll be Mourinho. I don't want Mourinho as England manager.
No.
Same way I don't want Mourinho being Newcastle manager. You know, he's bigger. He thinks he's bigger than the club. No.
طبعا اتش يعني يجاوب ديف يعني يقول لك ليش؟
sorry to burst your bubble.
يقول بالعكس هاو مدرب كبير، وانه يعني شفنا كل المدربين يعانون من صعوبه، مع انهم مثلا زي شفنا احنا كلوب وبيب يعني يعانون صعوبات برغم انه فريقهم يعني من زمان مستقر وامورهم الماديه تمام وعناصر. بالعكس يعني نصبر على ايدي هاو، ونقل الفريق لنقله يعني نوعيه في فتره وجيزه. فهو مستغرب من رايك، لكن اجاوب. طبعا شيخ ايوب he's angry from me because I'm not good translator. I don't know, he wants word by word. So let's translate his question or his opinion. He said the problem with unknown manager when he make good result with enthusiasm of the situation, he got cocky, you know, it's like up nose with his plans.
Yeah,
he doesn't have more than one plan, and when he lose, he doesn't lose anything because he doesn't have much to lose regarding coaching repetition. This club need to hold this reputation for this investment and going with best image. Opinion. What's your opinion and his opinion? So I will translate.
I agree. You've got to have more than one option, but you can't have more than one option when you've only got one option. And the fact is, the one option we've got is we haven't got enough players. We haven't got enough players in depth to have a plan B. we will need to spend some money next season in the summer to give us that option of a plan B. We're only 2 years into the new ownership. It took Manchester City 5 years. It took Manchester City 5 years before they got to that position where they had options. You know, we at the minute we haven't got options, so we have to play with what we've got. And that's where Eddie at the minute has got to get his substitutions right. These substitutions have got to be spot on, and sometimes they're not. But at the same time, we don't have the in-depth squad as your Liverpools, your Manchester Cities, your Chelseas, your Arsenals and Spurs. Not yet. We're still working on it. So I agree with what he says. We need another option, but when you've only got one option, you cannot be making other options up that aren't there.
طبعا ايوب يقول لك ديف انه يتفق معك انه فعلا نيوكاسل يحتاج اكثر من خطه، لكن انه الواقع يقول لك انه لا يوجد لديه لاعبين او لا يوجد في النادي لاعبين لاكثر من خطه. لازم ننفق علشان يكون عندنا اكثر من خطه. يعني هو يعيد نفس الكلام يعني بطريقه مختلفه، انه السيتي يحتاج 5 سنين عشان يوصل، اكثر من 5 سنين عشان يوصل للثبات اللي هو فيه. لازم يكون عندك لاعبين عشان يعني يصير عندك مجال اكثر لعمل اكثر من خطه، واحنا ترى ما صلنا سنتين عشان يعني، فكل ما جاء لاعبين راح يتحسن هذا الجانب. طيب عابد الشيخ الهاب لكن يحتاج دعم. عابد agree with you Dave that Eddie Howe he's good but he needs support. أسامة وليد, his name Osama Walid, asking why Newcastle lose easy game in his St. James Park, and do you think the coach is the reason for this?
No, it's simply down to we didn't have the right players in the right positions. We're desperate for a number 6 because the game against Nottingham Forest, where it was too easy for Chris Wood, because we didn't have anybody through the middle that could, the defensive midfielder, and that's the role hopefully that Calvin Phillips will fill. If Calvin Phillips comes in, we've got somebody who's going to fill that hole, because when you're going forward, you've got an attacking midfielder like Bruno, but you need a defensive midfielder, which we had, beforehand. When Hayden was at his best, Hayden was a good defensive midfielder, but even he fell apart, which is why he's out on his ear. But we haven't got a defensive midfielder, and that's where we need to strengthen, and that will be hopefully Calvin Phillips, certainly for the next 6 months. And next season, let's look to see who we can bring in next season to be that defensive midfielder, because I think that's the one area in the midfield where we're missing.
طبعا ديف يقول لك يا أسامة أنه يعني نفس تقريبا الجواب اللي قبل قليل، أنه لا يوجد لاعبين كفاية أمام نوتنغهام فورست. يعني ما كان عندنا مركز رقم 6 محور دفاعي، عشان كذا كريس وود يعني لقى شوارع وارتاح يعني اللعب ضدنا. يعني هي ترجع الإشكالية أنه ما في لاعبين، فلما ما يكون عندك لاعبين كافيين صعب أصلا تسوي خطة مناسبة، يعني بيصير في ترقيع. يعني أقدر أترجمها بناحية أنه ترقيع. عبد الله says any player you prefer than Almiron?
Oh, there's a lot of players you would prefer instead of Almiron. You want obviously somebody who can use both feet, but I do like Miggy. Miggy's full of heart. He's full of passion. I just wish he had 2 feet. Wish he could cross the ball with his right foot as much as he does with his left. So I'm open for I'm looking for anybody who can come in and fill that sort of position, but I don't know. I don't know who's really out there in that position who can, because what we do need somebody who can, like a San Maximan, who can pick the ball up and run at the defenders and then cross it with either foot. We don't have that in Mickey, and we certainly don't have it since Almiron and since San Maximan left. So yes, I think certainly a winger of any sort of repute would be a good buy. But who do you go for? Who is there? Who's available? Who's going to be reasonable money you can bring in that position? I've got no choice at the moment.
طبعا عبد الله ديف يقول انه يعني ما يعرف مين بالضبط متاح الان حاليا، خصوصا انه يعني مبالغ عاليه جدا الان للاعبين، ويقول في كثير لاعبين ممكن يكونوا افضل من الميرون، لكن اللي يعجبه في الميرون انه يعطي من قلبه يعني في اللعب. حلو يكون في خيار اخر في الفريق، لكن الوضع الحالي يعني يتطلب وجود الميرون، خصوصا انك انت صعب وما يوجد عندك طريقه انك تدفع مبلغ اكبر عشان تحصل على لاعب في نفس مركزه. H says Dave shocked me when he said why.
What? I shocked him, did I? Why?
Yeah.
Why did I shock him?
سامي يقول أشعر اللاعبين لا يؤدون ما عليهم وجديتهم في اللعب أقل مما هو مطلوب، معنوياتهم منخفضة. Osama says that he feels the player doesn't do what they've been asked for, not that serious. They are kind of low. ضاعت كلمة معنوياتهم. Low spirit. What do you think?
Yeah. Against Nottingham Forest, yeah, I think there was a lot of low spirit against Nottingham Forest, against Luton.
Why?
I think players were fatigued. I just think they were fatigued.
Yeah.
But they were fatigued, and I think like anybody, if you're at work and you feel as though you're not appreciated and you're working your socks off, then you're working your socks off and you're not getting the reward, and you feel low and depressed and a bit solemn. Yeah, I think that can find its way through, and that's where they say the confidence thing comes into play.
Do you think the player not appreciated enough? That's why?
No, I think they are appreciated. I just think the fact is that they've played virtually every game because we don't have that option of bringing somebody else in, and they feel tired and they feel like, oh dear me, I feel absolutely drained, and the fans are getting on my back, because the fans were getting on Almiron's back, they were getting on Lascelles' back, they were getting on Dan Burns' back, because they feel as though they were not up to that game. These players had come back from injury, or they'd played every game and they were absolutely tired, so they did feel a bit unwanted, and they feel a bit, what more can I do? What more can I do to do this, to help Newcastle? So yeah, they felt a bit low. They felt a bit, and that's where the confidence comes back. The win against Sunderland, more than anything, will be a confidence booster. They've proved that they can still play football. They've had a full week where they've trained properly, where beforehand they weren't even training properly. They were going for a walk around the training ground because they couldn't risk a player getting injured in training. So they couldn't get a player risked in training, so they had to go for walks instead of training. They're now training again. They got a good result against Sunderland. Let's just hope when they come up against Manchester City that they've got that fire back in their bellies, and they'll want to play. Let's hope that's the case.
طبعا ديف يقول لأسامة انه السبب الرئيسي الارهاق، إرهاق، قدموا كل ما يمكنهم تقديمه، يحسون بالإرهاق. فاللاعب لما يكون مرهق يعني أكيد ما بيأدي 100%، فيتم لومه إنه ليش ما لعبت زي ذيك المرة. ذيك المرة كان مهيئ، كان أجهز، لكن الآن مرهق، فطبيعي بيجي انتقادات، في اللاعب يتحطم من الانتقادات هذه. إنه طيب هو قدر يسوي كل ما يقدر عليه، اللاعب ما يقدر يعطي 100% في كل المباريات. فهذا الشيء سبب إنه يتفق معك. هذا اللي صار في مباراة نوتنغهام فورست. عابد says the team need more preparation psychologically in the games. Your opinion?
You've been breaking up. Oh, yeah, I don't know what the question was there, mate.
Abid says the team need more preparation, psychological preparation more in some games. What do you think?
Probably right. Yeah, probably right.
Yeah.
We used to have our own psychologist at one time.
They have?
But they used to have one. I don't know if they still got one.
كانوا نيوكاسل عندهم
used to have one. Used to have a psychologist.
ما أعتقد إنه الآن موجود. بوب يعني not okay. Osama think that Bob, because he's missed, caused some kind of issues or some hesitate in the team. Regardless that Dubravka is a good goalkeeper. For me, I don't think the goalkeeper have anything to do with this.
No, not at all. Not at all. Dubravka is a good goalkeeper. Same, so is Popey. But confidence is big, especially as a goalkeeper. Confidence is big, and I think Dubravka needed that game where he made all those saves against Liverpool. Although we got beat, I think it was good for Dubravka because he certainly pulled out the saves against Sunderland. He made three telling saves against Sunderland. So yeah, I think it's. I don't think you can't blame the goalkeeper.
كلنا نتفق أن الحارس دوبرافكي حارس ممتاز ويساوي بوب إذا ما كان بعد أفضل منه يعني، لكنه يمكن غاب كثير من المباريات، فطبيعي يعني الأشياء اللي صارت مع دوبرافكا وذا راح مانشستر ورجع وكان هو الحارس الأول وانقذ الفريق كثير في السابق، بعدين فضلوا الحارس الإنجليزي عليه بحجة إنه يلعب بقدميه، وشفنا إنه بوب ما يلعب بقدميه، يعني كل الأكشن هذا اللي صار، لكن في النهاية بوب يظل حارس كبير وما نعتقد إنه سبب رئيسي. Let's take this Dave as a last question from بدر. راح ناخذ هذا آخر سؤال لأنه خلاص نبغى ننام. Dave want to sleep, I want to sleep. So last question from بدر. What do you think the deals that necessary for the team and needs it now in this transfer window, winter transfer window, to make the balance back again?
I think we need a centre forward, a number 6 defensive midfielder, and another left back. So if we can bring in those 3 type of players, fantastic. With another centre half, possibly, but certainly we need a striker and we need that defensive midfielder. So let's hope that Calvin Phillips is that defensive midfielder that we bring in, and then we can look at whether we bring in a left back, a centre half, or a right midfielder. But
طبعا ديفي يعتقد انه نحتاج مهاجم صريح، محور رقم 6 وظهير ايسر، وايضا ما في مانع انه نجيب برضو مدافع. طبعا زي ما قلنا لكم الخبر اليوم انه ايديهاو يقرر البقاء في نيوكاسل في الفتره ما بعد مباراه نيوكاسل والسيتي بين 13 يناير وفولهام بالكاس 27 يناير، حيث يتم عمل جدول للتدريبات هذا الشهر في بنتون بارك مركز تدريبات نيوكاسل المدينة، ولن يسافر الفريق للمملكة العربية السعودية في هذا الشتاء. قد يأتي طبعا الفريق النسائي حسب الأخبار، لكن لسه ما صار في تأكيد في الموضوع. يوم الجمعة عندنا حلقة خاصة مع قناة تاكتكس مع فيليب لنقاش مباراة نيوكاسل ومانشستر سيتي. طبعا فيليب عنده قناة بودكاست متخصصة بالتحليل والتكتيكات، راح نتكلم عنه تكتيكات جوارديولا وإيدي هاو في المباراة القادمة. أيضا أنا قلت الأسئلة. طيب شكرا لك يا عابد. نشكر ديف. we'd like to thank Dave for this brilliant appearance. Thank you. We appreciate it, Dave, for all the answers. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody in Saudi, for your questions. Very, very good questions.
أعجبت الأسئلة ديف، يعني أسئلتكم يقول أسئلتكم حلوة. شكرا لك يا أسامة، شكرا لاستماعكم. لا تنسوا الاشتراك في قناة نيوكاسل مع وليد، ويا ريت لو تحطون اشتراك ولايك علشان يعني يزيد انتشار القناة. شكرا لكم وتصبحون على خير.